The lads in the workshop have been busy. This is the Hall of Legends.
This one's gonna snap.
It's like when you get sunburn and you have to pick the skin off. I think it's safe to say that one's foobarred.
Very good, huh? Ooh.
Welcome back to another instalment of Torque GT's Impreza P1 restoration series. And as you can see, the lads in the workshop have been busy.
This one's gonna snap.
Because we've got an engine, a gearbox, and they're not in the car. Now, these two components are a major component in any car, any vehicle to be honest. However, in the Impreza, these two were the key to its success as a rally car and as a serious fast road driver's car. Why? Well, two words: simplicity and compactedness. Yep, it's small, it's short, it's low, as am I. Basically, this engine is what happens when you take your normal engine and you mold it around and you scrape it and you pull it out and you squash it down and you take it low, and all of a sudden, all your weight is at the bottom of the car. A low centre of gravity, and that aids handling. The other thing that aids handling is a four-wheel drive drivetrain. There's a couple of ways that you can skin a cat, is what they tell me. Never tried to skin a cat. Built a couple of four-wheel drive cars, seen a few more. This is very similar to the Audi Quattro system, but different to what you might find in your JDM cars such as the GTR or your English, well, European Cosworths, Sierras and Escorts. What makes them so different? Right, are you paying attention? Gearbox. These are where the front drive shafts go. The front differential in this is built into the gearbox. Same with the Audi. In the Cosworths and the Skylines, the front differential is actually part of the sump. There are benefits and disadvantages with both systems. The benefits to this is a very compact drivetrain. The main disadvantage is that the engine is ahead of the axle line, which is bad for handling. With the Audi, you've got 4, maybe 5 cylinders, usually 5, out front. All that weight is right out front. To illustrate how bad this is, go to a supermarket, grab a trolley, put 2 crates of beer, or any other drink, in the front of the trolley and try and take a corner. If you smash anything up, leg it. If you don't, then put the crates of beer in the middle of the trolley and take a corner. Completely different feeling. You'll be able to pirouette that trolley round and you'll be the drift king of Tesco's. Subaru's solution to all this weight up front was this low, flat 4 compact engine. Therefore, rather than all the weight being forward, it's low down, it's wide, it's between the front wheels. It might be ahead of the axle line, but it's as far back as it can possibly go. And that is what made the car so awesome to drive. With the engine out, you can see that we've got our work cut out for us. It is filthy, it is corroded, the paint is flaking. The 14mm nuts are no longer 14mm. These are going to have to be gas axed off or something. Brute force with finesse will be required. Now this engine ran really nicely when it was in the car. However, until we strip it apart, we don't know what we've got. We've already talked about how awesome the EJ series of engines is. However, they do have an Achilles heel, it seems. Cylinder number 3. There's a couple of reasons this might be the case. Some people say cooling, it's the last to get cooled. Some people say fueling, it's the last one that the fuel gets to. Others say oil path, it gets starved of oil at high RPM. Others might consider it's all 3 of these. However, until we get this engine apart, we won't know what we've got and what action to take should we discover anything's wrong. The other thing we're going to have fun doing is peeling off this paint. It's like when you get sunburn and you have to pick the skin off. Oh, ew, horrible, crispy. Let's carry on with the strip down. Now there's one bit since I last inspected the car that I've been dying to see, because I'm a metal man. I like my metal shaping and my fabrication. Rust is my enemy, and I remember seeing a bit underneath the sill. Come here, come here. I actually haven't had a proper look at this yet. Oh, what have we got? Hello, corrosion, my old friend. I think it's safe to say that one's foobarred. What about the other side? This one is not as bad, but it's still going to have to be cut out and reworked. Everything needs an overhaul. The air conditioning system needs a new condenser. All the fins have gone. It's all powdery. One thing we did discover, air conditioning compressor, it's completely seized. So that is going to be a strip down. Just every bracket, everything is all corroded. The chassis rails are solid. We know this because we panicked at first because we did find bits of rust in it. But what it is these are brand new bumper irons. That's actually a Subaru factory sticker on it. I think we're going to have to make new light surrounds. Or if we can't buy them, that is, because these have seen better days. I don't want to move any more of that because I might need to make templates of them. We're just going to have to see what the inventory is that Subaru UK have. Tell you what, let's leave Spencer to carry on stripping the car to get it ready for the spit. I've got something very, very special to show you. All you Impreza fans, just get ready. Come on, come on. Now, this is the Hall of Legends, but there's just one legend that I really, really have to show you. You ready? Ready? No. Ignore the NER spec. Ignore the GTR R34. Ignore the 400R. Ignore the Mackinnon. Ignore the V-Spec 2. Ignore the... No, oi, this way, this way, this way. The 22B. To many Impreza fans, this is the ultimate. It's the only one that had the wide arches, so it's reminiscent of the WRC two-door car. There's not much I can say that most of you won't already know. I'm hoping none of you write in and complain that I've got some detail wrong. They made 424 of these-ish. There are some disputes. So this is a very, very exclusive car. It's the only model that is the wide arch like the rally car. All the other road cars were not wide arch. It's got the 2.2 litre engine, so it's got a lot more mid-range torque from the factory. It's got water injection. It's got the differential split that you can adjust inside the car. There's not much more I can say. It's just beautiful to look at in a really aggressive way. It's everything. I'm 41. I was a child of the 90s. I was a teenager in the 90s. Gran Turismo, Colin McRae Rally, the best years of WRC, when you could actually go out and buy something that you saw racing at the weekend. The current crop of WRC cars, you can't do that. But back in those days, you could. If your pockets were deep enough, if you were awesome enough, you could go out and buy this. You could go to a showroom and get a Mackinnon edition. There's lots more stories to come on these. Anyway, we're going to head back to the workshop, but stay tuned because there will be an in-depth feature on this exact car. So with the drivetrain out and we've started stripping the body, we can now concentrate on getting everything off this and get it back to its bare bones. Next time, we're going to get this on the rollover jig and we can really start the restoration of the shell. Thanks for tuning in. See you again.